Well, hello everybody. Patrick Batty here, and welcome to another edition of Boomer High. I hope you have had a great week. I want to welcome everybody who's coming. We generally have a good crowd on hand for our live event, and we get a lot of other people watching these every week as myself, Patrick Batty, and my co-host, Marian Herbertson present a lot of things to do with internet marketing, network marketing, making money online in as it pertains to baby boomers like we are. We've both been fairly successful at doing it over the last few years, and one of the things we really enjoy is sharing as much info as we can with everybody. And we just like to kind of give out whatever we've learned so we can help you succeed and proceed with your internet marketing or network marketing business. I just want to double check that I'm coming through on our live feed. Just generally takes a minute or two until it comes up. Let me make sure it is, or I'll check on our website one sec as I open it up on the other computer here and see if there are comments coming up. I should have done that in advance. Sorry for that. Or I'll do it this way. Stand by for 1 second. And there we go. Yeah, we are. Okay. So there we go. So I can see I'm coming through. Good. I'd just like to double check that before we move forward. So, hey, I have first of all, let me tell you about what's gone on this week, and then we'll talk about what we're going to talk about. So I've had a fairly busy week. As you know, Marian and I are coaches in our online business. We both coach people. As a result, we end up talking to literally hundreds of people a week. And it's really, quite frankly, it's quite inspiring, because not only do we get to share there. Now I just wanted to double check that I got that on the iPad. We get to share. We get to share what we're doing and what we've done in our coaching. I got to just turn off this video on mine. There we go. I had it on the iPad. I want to exit it out and shut down the iPad now. So anyway, there we go. So we're going, okay. So Marian and I have been coaching a lot of people, and as a result, not only do we help them, I think we're getting inspired quite a bit by them too, because we've seen a lot of them kind of come into our system and make progress fairly quickly. Making some money, making some sales, and because they've bought systems, other people are making sales and things like that. So it's really inspiring. We hear a lot of stories, some of them, pretty heartwarming and pretty difficult stories. Some people very challenged, or people that have been struggling to make some money on the internet and have never done it. And then it's so exciting when we see they are doing it fairly quickly. So it's a lot of fun. So that takes up a lot of our time. And a couple other things just recently for me. This is Thanksgiving week in Canada. My wife and Bonnie and I live in Cambridge, Ontario, Canada. It's Thanksgiving. Our Thanksgiving's on the Monday. And so we just had that the other day. We had the kids over, had a lot of fun, and a couple cocktails. We ended up not doing turkey this time. It's kind of rare. Normally we have turkey, but they were at the other family the day before and had a big turkey dinner. So we did something completely different and had a great week. So with that said, let's talk about what we are going to kind of fill you in on tonight. Basically, what I wanted to do is because we have a lot of people that are fairly new into network marketing or internet marketing, and some that have been experienced at it but haven't had a lot of success. What I want to do is talk to you tonight a little bit about some of the biggest challenge, and maybe the single biggest challenge that I've seen in terms of for people in network marketing. And I've actually created a PowerPoint presentation for you tonight, and I'm going to do that. Normally I just talk like this, but I wanted to really focus in on it and also kind of stay to the plan. There's nothing to buy tonight. I'm not selling you anything. I mean, our online business is down below. There's a link to the business if you want to join our business. And then I have a list building course or ebook down below as well. But that's not the purpose of what this is tonight. Tonight, I'm going to just give you some free, hopefully valuable content that you can take away and, you know, I think help you. I think it will help you with your business. So I'm going to do it in terms of a PowerPoint presentation or oh yeah, the other big news I had is I just switched to a Mac computer. I just bought a brand new Mac on Sunday. So it's brand new. This is the first time I've done a Hangout from it, which is why I'm using the headphones tonight. I don't have my real broadcast microphone hooked up to the Mac yet. And so this is also the first live Hangout I've done from a Mac. And then I created a presentation with Mac software that I've never used before. I just created the presentation this afternoon. So I'm kind of hanging out on the ragged edge tonight, hoping everything will work. So first of all, let me open up my presentation here and share my screen and get to it. And there's one part of this that I wasn't even sure what to do on my Mac. So let's, and that is to go into like screen presentation mode as opposed to I'm in the slide kind of editing mode here. Whenever I tried it in the Hangout before, basically it didn't take it. And I don't know how to do that. So because this is brand new to me, I thought I won't worry about it. But that's why I've got the slides down the side. I'm kind of in the edit mode here. So what we're going to talk about tonight, though, and really the topic is all about focus and action. Excuse me, just while I have a sip of my water. I find these two components are probably the most critical part for people in their online business. And I found them, I'm not speaking in this case as an expert who is wonderful at this. I'm speaking as a person that, first of all, found it a challenge myself, especially the focus part, and second, overcame a few of those challenges along the way. And I've actually seen a lot of people have a challenge with this. And that's why I thought it was important enough to really create a presentation for you tonight to share it with you. So, and I'm going to open it up also for questions. Again, I'm going to just look on my other monitor here just to see when the questions are happening. And I do see we've got some folks in here. Great. Thank you, everybody. So I'm gonna open it up for some questions, or I may ask you some questions along the way, and I'll look for you to respond in the chat on our website. So the key thing, again, we're talking about is focus and action. Now, let me first of all, let's highlight what some of the biggest challenges most people face are. You know, most people in network marketing or internet marketing are always looking for, you know, more leads, more revenue, more customers, you know, or more clients, depending on what kind of business you do, or maybe all of the above. I mean, that's the name of the game. Whatever you're doing, you usually want more. And especially when you're new, you probably don't have a lot to start with. So getting yourself to the point of seeing that happen can, first of all, be the obstacle you think you're facing at this point. But what I've noticed is when people dwell on that purely, as opposed to breaking it down a little bit finer, they sometimes it gets lost for them, kind of in the weeds a little bit. When you drill into it a little bit more, what I found you would see people say is, you know, they don't really know what to do, or maybe they're trying all kinds of different things, literally all kinds of things. They're going to do anything under the sun to go find clients, customers, leads, whatever. And gradually, it gets almost overwhelming. And in many cases, when they get overwhelmed, they're not really accomplishing as much as they want to. They get a little scattered. It gets confusing. It gets like, which way do I turn? Which way do I go? How do I get it done? And things like that. And by the way, as baby boomers, I think that's true in a lot of us. I mean, most of us have not been working on computers all our life, one. Most of us have not been network marketers or internet marketers all our life, two. I mean, the internet didn't exist for most of our life. So internet marketing or network marketing could be new to us as well. Most of us have access to all kinds of training, or at least some, and it just gets to be generally confusing. So what I've found when you really analyze this thing and really try to break it down to its most fundamental underlying problem is most of us get involved in a bit of a scattershot approach and a lack of focus. Okay, and I really do honestly think it's an underlying problem, but it's also one that's not too difficult to solve. Okay, basically where I see it as a problem is people, because we do have access to training, whether it's training from the systems that we're involved in or training we're buying from this course or that course, or, over on the Warrior Forum where there's 200 different products come out just about every day. People just get overwhelmed and they're going in too many directions. And then they end up starting all kinds of projects, but they don't take them to completion in many, many, many cases. And I am absolutely telling you something that I've gone through. So let me emphasize, it was not until I overcame that that's when I started making money. When I was trying to go out and buy something different every other day, I was not making a dime. I was spending money. I was getting myself defocused. I was not going in any single direction. I was grasping at straws, trying to find the magic, the magic button. And, people talk about the, shiny ball syndrome or whatever. It's just that, so many people, when they're fairly new at this, get kind of hooked into the idea that they can buy the solution. Okay. But the solution really lies within you with a little bit of thought and a little bit of organization. Now, I don't mean that you don't have to go through some training. Clearly, you need to know something to even get going. But going out and grasping and finding all kinds of different things and all kinds of different courses, and everybody's an expert and I'm going to, do what they do, inevitably means to spending more money than you earn. And secondly, getting yourself into a lot of half-finished or half-completed activities that don't pay off. Okay, so that it's really something that I've done, I've seen, and until I literally locked up my wallet and said, I'm going to do this particular project this week, and I am not opening up an email. I am not opening up Warrior Forum. I'm not buying a product. I am going to accomplish some tasks this week. Okay, really, really simple when you think about it, but also hopefully really beneficial when people really start to do it. So the thing you got to figure out is, what is the best path for most businesses? And this is, when we talk about doing all kinds of different things, what's the best path? Do you want to try 10 or 15 different methods or 10 or 15 different projects scattered all over the place, and maybe even end up with them just partially completed? Or do you want to try one method and get it fully completed, and maybe once that's completed, do additional ones? Well, I think the idea is to try one method first and do one project at a time. Okay, and the reason I think that is this. If you finish a project, if you go down a path, let's say you want to do a project and you're going to start marketing your business on Facebook. And we'll talk about how we manage that project a little bit later. But that is the thing maybe you want to do. Okay, if that's for some reason you have that inclination that that's the one that works for you, great. You're going to want to get some training on it. You're going to figure it out, and then you start doing it. But you really don't want to do anything else. You want to do that project and make it happen and make it complete before you ever do another thing. Because if you started doing 5 or 10 different things and go down a path of 5 or 10 different things at one time, well, number one, it takes much, much, much longer to get any of them done, okay? It also, if you have a bunch of things that aren't done, they aren't bringing in any business for you. Plain and simple. If you have 10 projects on the go and they're all 10% complete, how much business are you going to get from those 10 projects now? Zero. Okay, there's no partial way to get to the point of getting income from it. You got to get a project complete, and that gives you then at least the opportunity to bring in business through whatever method that was. And again, if we said Facebook, if it's Facebook. So what do we, as an example, what do we want to do to market on Facebook? Well, we want to figure out who our target market is. We want to probably create a lead capture page. We want to, understand something about Facebook advertising. We want to run an ad. We maybe want to have what's called a lead magnet that we offer to people that opt in and through the lead capture page. And we maybe want to create a bunch of emails so that will go out to those people that opt in, and possibly a sales page to whatever we're going to sell. So that whole thing could be a project. You would define it. You would put down your tasks, but you wouldn't start going down the path of other methods, other techniques, other ways to do business until you at least get that project up and running. Doesn't guarantee that it's going to be successful, but I guarantee it's not successful if it's not finished. So I hope that I hope you get the point. I mean, if it's not done, it's not done, and you're not bringing in any business. The cool thing is, once you know if it works, well, then there's a couple things that can be done. You can either scale it up, especially if it's an advertising base. If you know it works, if you know you're making a profit from that project, great. And you're making a project when you run some ads. Maybe we'll throw an example out. Maybe you run $10 a day for a week. And at the end of so you've spent $70 over a week. Well, if you're making a profit from that in general across the board, well, then maybe the next week you're going to ramp it up to $20 or $30 a day if it works. So that's what I'm talking about, scaling it out. I know you understand that, but that's the point. The point is you've decided and proven to yourself that it either works or it doesn't work. Now, if it doesn't work, you may modify it and you go back and make some changes and test some other things out. And then also, if it doesn't work, it may be time to look at another method. But my biggest point about this is you don't go in to start creating 30 different or 3 different or 5 different things at one time. Get yourself to be an expert in completing a project, okay? And then deciding if it works, scaling it up, and then look at other things. Now, if that works and it works really great, well, frankly, it's almost on autopilot at that point. That's another time that then with less pressure, you can get into doing something else. Could be a different method altogether. It's up to you. If you have the time to do it, great. If you don't have the time, you just scale up that advertising and continue on. Okay? So that's what I mean. You want to get 1 project % complete. Now, what happens if you don't complete a project, or if you work on 2 or 3 things at the same time, and so that over a period of weeks, they're not done? Well, there's some real negatives about that in my estimation anyway. One is, well, if you haven't completed it, you haven't figured out if it works yet, have you? You won't know. You will not know if it works if you have not finished the project, if you haven't executed, if you haven't started gotten everything together and run the ads, if advertising was the project. The second thing is you haven't learned a darn thing. The only thing you've learned is you're not that good at finishing projects. So again, you'll find yourself in this, and I find myself in this trap frequently. Okay, so you haven't learned anything. The other thing is you haven't earned anything. Because it's not completed, you've spent time in it, you've invested time in it, and you haven't made any money. And again, you may have 3 or 4 of these things on the go. And the key thing when you think about it is this: even if it's 90% done, until it's complete, you can't earn any money. Therefore, until you're at that stage, everything you've done is wasted. It's not wasted in terms of getting, percent of completion, but if you get 90% of something done and then you never get it off the ground, you've wasted all that time and all that money. Okay? So until you get something 100% complete, you don't know if it'll work. And until you get there, you're kind of, you're risking you're at risk of wasting money. Okay. And again, the project doesn't have any chance to get results. Now, I actually, in my background, as well as having been running sales for organizations, I was involved in managing some very big projects. And at one point in my career, I decided to take up and get certified as what's called a professional, a project manager, project management professional. It's PMP. Go through a lot of tests, a lot of hours of training and all that kind of thing, and I did it. Now, that kind of project management is very, very sophisticated and very much all about managing risk, managing your expenditures, managing time, managing people, all that. We're not really doing that to that degree as internet marketers or network marketers. However, frankly, our time is important anyway. Our money is important anyway. We're not building massive projects, but we are still, it's massively important to us. So as much as, in some ways this is project management, I don't want to confuse it with, Gantt charts and all that kind of stuff that you get involved in project management. The key thing is I'm trying to keep it simple here and help you at least focus in on what we're doing, and then take off, do your projects kind of in bite-sized chunks. So this is not what I would call project management at a PMP level by any stretch of the imagination, but it's very appropriate for us as individual network marketers and or internet marketers. We're generally not managing bundles of people, we're managing ourselves. We may manage some outsourcers, and we'll talk about that. So here's some ideas about doing this on a daily basis. Now, there's nothing really radical or crazy or maybe even inventive about this. But the key thing is, I do believe it's worthwhile putting out some tasks, creating a list of tasks. Your project may be a multi-day project. It may be one you can get done in a day. If it's a multi-day project, you're going to want to put down the tasks that you want to do today. Okay, and it depends on how much time you have. You're going to want to prioritize those tasks. Now, some people will always put the highest important tasks kind of at the bottom of the list, or maybe the ones that they least like to do. Frankly, I like to do it the other way around. The ones that I don't like to do, I like to either decide to go do it ASAP or decide to get somebody else to do it if I don't want to. And if I'm going to get somebody else, it may take a little bit longer because I have to organize that. So I tend to put my important ones and or difficult ones or ones that I don't want, I put those up fairly high and early in a project. You want to, do love the idea of creating a list, knocking the items on that list off as soon as you can. And, taking, frankly, satisfaction at completing your task. If your project spans out over a couple of days and you had like 6 things to do today and you did them all and you marked it off and they're done, and you can shut down and feel good that you've accomplished something. We know that in some projects are going to be a number of days or even weeks, right? But at least you've got it documented for yourself that you've done the part that you had expected and hoped to do today. And that's why having some lists like that is kind of important. I like to actually do a list at night for the night before for the stuff that I want to get done the next day. I mentioned outsourcing a little bit. Again, this is far from an outsourcing course, and it's far from even a project management course today. I'm just sharing some information and thoughts of mine. But, you know, there are, if you're not an expert on certain things, or it's certain things that you don't enjoy or you don't have skill at, you know, you could consider doing a few things. I mean, if you want to, if you're not a technical person and you're going to be dealing with technical websites and all that, you might just hire an ongoing assistant that will deal with some of that stuff for you, so you don't have to, and you can more manage the project. If you more so are feeling like you don't mind doing it, but there are specific things you don't want to do, you can then also go out to websites like Fiverr, Odesk, Elance, sites like that. Now, what Fiverr is, most of you, I'm sure, know about it, but basically it's a place where you can buy services for $5. And the types of things on there, I mean, it's like whatever you can imagine, it's there pretty much. People will record videos for you. People will build a website for you. People will, you know, do slide presentations or record maybe a leader video to put at the beginning of your video, fancy graphics. I, for instance, one of the tasks that I do not like doing is graphics. I do some fundamental graphics with a tool called the Logo Creator. I like it. It's a fairly easy one, but I do not have the capability or the inclination to do stuff with Photoshop. I find it really hard every time I've looked at it, every time I tried. There's another product called GIMP, very similar. I can't do it. It's just not into me. And frankly, I don't want to spend a week learning how. I would rather go buy a graphic from somebody on Fiverr than me spend a week trying to figure out how to go do it. Okay. Or if it's something more complicated, hire somebody on Odesk. You know, those are for a little bit bigger projects. Maybe it might be $30 to do something, whatever, or Elance, same kinds of sites. But graphics is one thing. It's one of the things that I just flat out, unless it's pretty basic, I don't touch it because I don't like doing it. I'm not good at it. The end result is not that great, and frankly, it takes me way more time than it does for me to get somebody, and maybe more money because I'm using up my own time to go out and get somebody to create it for me on Fiverr or somewhere else. So that's something that I like to outsource. Now, you may be great at that, but maybe there's something you don't. That you don't like doing. Well, that's where I would consider outsourcing. Okay. So again, Fiverr, $5 projects, Odesk. Basically, you can either search for people or post a job, and same situation for Elance as well. And there's another one, freelancer.com, I believe it's called, as well. So just some ideas about that. Now, I mentioned starting and ending your day with a list. I like to put my mandatory tasks up top. I like to prioritize the tasks. So here's the ones. 1, 2, and 3 are my things. I got to get these 3 done today. The next ones, I also got to include in my list any scheduled time, like any actual appointment time, whether I have an appointment at 11 o'clock, 1 o'clock, whatever. I want to put that on the list as well so that I don't get lost in my mandatory tasks and then forget about appointments. Okay. But again, I like to do the most important or difficult ones first as well. Another reason I like to do that, by the way, is when I have a really difficult task to do and I have a number of little easy ones, it's tempting to do those easy ones and get them out of the way. But I may still put that difficult one off and off and off. If I do that, again, I'm risking that point about, you know, getting a project 90% done, but never having it out the door. If I do the difficult one first, I'm very confident in myself to do the smaller, easier ones and be able to slot them into a schedule so that I can get the entire project done. I've done this all similar kind of thing with the ebooks I've written and courses I've created. I've done it with the websites I've created. I've done it with the membership site I've created for my team, all this kind of stuff, because some of that's fairly complicated. I mean, I know that one website that had over 100 pages on it. So it took a lot of videos, a lot of pages, a lot of time and things like that. So again, most important ones first, most difficult ones first, and then on with the more fun stuff after that, because that's easy to get done. Okay. Now, a couple other things about your list. You may have a lot of things on your list. I don't know, again, what how much you're doing, but you may put a list together that has 15, 20 things to do in a day, or 10 or 20. I would really highly advise against multitasking if at all possible. Don't try to do 2 or 3 things at one time. Do one thing at one time and finish it. Okay. The other thing is, try to eliminate any distractions. Facebook, cell phone, email, any of those things, they're all important at some point, but you don't want to have them open up, disturbing you and your time all day long. Okay. If you aren't working for anybody else, if you're not working for anybody else, you generally don't have to be contactable by them unless it's an emergency. Okay. And if it's an emergency, I mean, maybe there's people you give a certain phone number to, but not to other people. But you don't want to be distracted by a Skype message popping up every 10 seconds, a Facebook post coming up every 10 seconds, an email, checking out the email to see if, we made any sales in the last 10 minutes, all that kind of stuff, or just Facebook, where you can just go on for days, right? So what you really want to do with those things, we realize they're all important, but you want to actually schedule some time for that every day. And you may pick a time, like I'm going to do Facebook between 5 o'clock and 5:30, just as an example. Or I'll check my email, again, maybe between 5 o'clock and 5:30 or some other time. I tend not to do it first thing in the morning, but I also know I don't like to check email, and I really don't like to check, I don't mind Facebook, but I don't like to check stuff late in the evening, because I don't want to have something come in that kind of disturbs me before I'm going to bed. I'd rather get that done late in the business day, when I can get at it, I can deal with it. It's not going to disturb my rest time or my sleep. Excuse me. But that's me. The key thing is just set up a time. What works for you? How much time do you want to make available to email? Now, for me, email, other than the coaching that I do, where there's a lot of emails, personal emails, probably 10 minutes a day. So it's not a big deal. Social media might be a half an hour, 20 minutes a day at best as well. Now, I do some business via social media, but I don't really do a lot of it. But it's, again, set up a designated time for that. We're going to get into a little bit more of that, a bit more. One of the things I mentioned was multitasking is really inefficient. The reason I say that is a couple things. Whenever you are switching from one function to another, every time you do it, your brain has to take time to get around, kind of reset on the other job. So if I was just doing some very repetitive stuff on in some project or whatever, and then all of a sudden I wanted to go do some Facebook posts in the middle of it, well, I'd have to go interrupt what I was doing in my project, go out, do Facebook, maybe grab an image, think of where I was going to post it, do all that kind of thing, think about it all before I did it, then do it, then go back to my project and get again where was I? Where did I leave off? Where, what did I do? What was the last thing I did? And all that kind of thing. First of all, it can lead to kind of sloppy or unproductive work. And I won't say I've never done sloppy work. I've done it accidentally. I'm wonderful at spelling errors in Facebook. But it just can lead to that. Whereas if you're really focusing in on a task and just purely doing that task, the chance of you doing that kind of thing is a lot less. And again, unproductive means if you're going from one thing to another, again, you're always going to have that time waste as you reset. Okay, so that's why I believe it's inefficient. Now, I'll admit I do a little multitasking in the evening. When I'm watching TV, I may have a laptop on and I may be doing something at that point. But that's different. I'm watching TV. I don't care if I'm interrupting my watching TV. or whatever it is. So quite often I do a little multitasking then. But when I have important mission critical jobs to do that are on my list that I want to get them done, I focus on that list and focus on that task until it's done. Okay, and I'm going to get into it a little bit more. One of the other things I've seen, this is slightly different tax, especially with newer people in both my business and network marketing, internet marketing, is confusing learning with earning. You want to set aside some time for both. And how you gauge that probably depends on where you are in your business. But even if you are brand new, if you're brand new in a business today, I want you to, first of all, start learning something, but I also would suggest you want to put something into action today as you've learned it or after you've learned it, okay? Because you don't get paid for learning. You get paid for accomplishing things. You get paid for, doing whatever you're doing to bring in business. Okay, but you're not getting paid for learning. So we as much as learning is important, I recommend you schedule some time every day for learning, but your bigger job is doing your activities that will get you paid. We call those income producing activities. Okay, income producing activities could be something like, I'm a step ahead. Could be I'm going to post a few things to Facebook. With my link, with my story, with maybe a video, and I'm going to put it on my Facebook feed, and I'm going to put it in, 15 different groups or something like that. Those are income producing activities. What I'm doing, I'm marketing, and I'm, spreading the word about my product, my service, my business, whatever it is I'm selling. Okay, that's an income producing activity. Another one could be writing some emails that will go out to the people that subscribe to my list. Well, that's an income producing activity, just writing them. And when people opt into your list or what you do to create that list is another income producing activity. On the other hand, listening to videos on how to do that is a learning activity, but you're not doing it, you're learning. Okay, so you want to do some of each. You want to learn what you have to do, but you want to do it because that's where you're getting paid. I have seen some people that become professional internet marketing students and they never make a dime. Okay, honestly, and I've seen it, and it's frustrating, but it's their business, and I can give them a little guidance, but it's their business. But they love taking courses. They love buying courses. They love taking courses. That's fun. And if maybe they don't need the money, I don't know. That's up to them. But I always wonder, why would somebody do this for years on end without taking action? My point is, when you're new at this, it's the most important time for you to take action. Hey, you may make some mistakes, but if you don't take action, if you don't do some of this stuff, nothing happens for you, no matter what you learn. Okay, so I would say it's, and I can't give you a guideline on time because it's totally based on how much time you have available. But if you're brand new, I would put 2 units of time, maybe it's hours, 2 hours into learning and 1 hour into doing for the first couple weeks, so that you are spending more time learning what you're doing, but you're also making progress doing it. When you get a little bit more experienced, I'd probably reverse it. You're spending an hour maybe going through some course material, and you're going to spend 2 hours doing whatever it is that is going to generate revenue for you. When you get a little bit further along, it might be 1 hour of learning to 3 hours of doing. And again, when you really get far along, you just spend it doing, and then pick up some new material new training whenever you can. But the point is, you got to be doing, and it's best to start doing day one. Get yourself into the habit day one, as opposed to waiting for some magic, revelation that's going to come to you. I'm just checking out any comments or questions out there. Okay, so I don't see any. So the next thing is, one of the things that I have looked at and I liked, and I've done it sometimes. I won't say I do this every day, but there's a technique called the Pomodoro technique. The Pomodoro technique, in a nutshell, is this, in a real nutshell. Basically, you get yourself a little timer. In this case, you can see it's a little food timer, a Pomodoro timer. It's a 20-minute food timer. You're going to have your task list, and you're going to figure out what your next task is you're going to do, and you're going to start your timer, and you're not going to do anything but that task for the next 20 minutes. You'd be amazed at how much you get done in a day. You literally are not going to do anything else other than the task you've just assigned to yourself for the next 20 minutes. You're not going to look at Facebook. You're not going to look at Gmail or email or whatever. You're not going to go to different websites, check out the news, anything. You're going to do that task for 20 minutes. At the end of 20 minutes, you're going to take a little bit of a break, maybe a minute or two. I can't remember what they say. I think it's 2 minutes or 3. Grab yourself a drink, go to the washroom, whatever you have to do, and then you're going to get back to it. Now, if that task is still to be completed, you're going to continue at it. If you're done with that task, you're going to get to the next one and do it again. So this technique, as simple as that sounds, believe it or not, there's books about this, there's software about this, there's timers you can buy and all that. I've given you that in, a real 2-minute nutshell. I'm not encouraging you to go buy books. I'm just encouraging you to grab a timer. Whatever timer you can do. You can probably do one on your PC somehow, or there's even Pomodoro apps and things like that you can put on, whatever kind of computer you have. Now, again, I'm not promoting the books, the software, the timers, anything. You just need something that is good, even if it's your wristwatch, to say there, I am not going to do anything else for 20 minutes. I challenge you guys to do that for the next week, and you will be amazed at how much you accomplish. It really is something. So overall, those are just some very high-level ideas about how to make yourself a lot more efficient and maybe a little more focused. I think focus is critical, and I think it's so important, especially when you're new at the business, because if you're new in the business, you're not making any money. And what's between you and making money is getting some things accomplished, right? And we want you to, we want you to accomplish things. And so you may not have a job, or you may not have a boss now, but frankly, this is more important now than if you did have a boss. It's a little bit, some people get a little slack when they don't have a boss. But if you think about it, you have a vision that you want to achieve. You're doing what you're doing for a reason. And you're doing what you're doing to make a certain amount of money possibly, but more importantly, that goal that you have is to do something. Well, what's more important? Doing this job and doing it well so you can accomplish that vision and do whatever it is you want, or doing it efficiently just because you happen to have a boss or a job. I think it's more important now. You're an entrepreneur. You're an entrepreneur, and the opportunity for you is really limitless. And you probably have some fairly aggressive goals and desires, and yet the only thing that's preventing you from getting them and doing them is yourself, right? It's not all just learning. It's not all anybody else. It's not technology. It's because all of those are things you can overcome. The cool thing is, by breaking it down into these small chunks, and I'm taking it down to 20-minute chunks here, is it means it's such a satisfying, journey. Because you can literally go at the end of the day and say, I accomplished this whole list, all in these little 20-minute chunks. And you feel good. And yeah, those may not be the end result. Those may not, because you may have, another few days worth of chunks to do before you start getting business, or maybe a few weeks. But the cool thing is, if you broke them down and you accomplished those 20-minute chunks, you've You're enjoying a bit of the journey. You're feeling a sense of satisfaction because you've accomplished something today. You've accomplished getting yourself a few percentage points or many percentage points closer to the end result. So you're enjoying the journey, you're enjoying the fun part. And even if it didn't mean revenue today, having a list that you can look at and say you've achieved that is all part of the fun. And that's why I mentioned it here. Now this journey, the little Ducati up there, well, that's I'm a bit of a motorcycle guy. I've never had one like that, though, I'll admit. But seriously, the journey is part of the fun in this. In this business, you're gonna make some friends, you're gonna make some allies, you'll make some enemies somewhere along the line, despite trying not to. But you know what? This whole thing is fun. This is a lot of fun in the sense of accomplishment you have, not only by achieving your end result goal, but achieving all the little intermediary goals along the way can make it a great time. Hey, I'm just going to check out some questions here because that pretty much concludes. Yeah, Christine, I got to move. Sorry, I got to zoom in here on this other computer so I can see it a bit better. And I'm going to just comment on some of the posts I see. Yeah, Christine, that's exactly my point. It's so easy to get distracted when you're not accountable to a boss. But when you think about it, what's more important, your vision or when you used to have, if you had a boss? Well, frankly, this dream you've got, this vision you have, this goal that you want to achieve, that's a lot more important than keeping some boss happy that you may have used to have. It's a lot more important. You want to do this for a reason, and you're gonna, if you have a big vision and a big goal and you enjoy the steps along the way and you do them, chances are you're going to get there. So that's really cool. Thank you, Christine. Yeah, Ducati. Yeah. Oh, so your husband has a Ducati. Well, cool. And I've had a Ducati, just not one like this. And mine was a lot smaller, and it was a long time ago. Let's see. How do you need an elephant? Absolutely, Sue. Yeah, that's part of the point. So instead of eating the elephant purely one bite at a time, we're eating one little slice of tomato here with the Pomodoro. And that's it. You know, you may have a big project. You know, now again, I don't advise people to start out by wanting to create a massive project in order to, you know, hopefully get business someday. I think a series of small ones is much easier to do and get results as opposed to some big one. Anyway. And I did an elephant project. That website of mine that I said had about 100 videos and 100 pages. That was a huge project. And I can attest that it was not worth the trouble. Okay, and I went off on my own doing that for, you know, I built that out over a couple months. And it was not worth the trouble. Now, I actually had a lot of people on my team and have had them go through it and things like that. But honestly, it was not worth the trouble. I would not do it again. I don't even use the site anymore. I've got some videos on I may use because a lot of the videos are really good. But frankly, it was a big, big job. And to be doing that in early days in network marketing and internet marketing is a bit of a, you may just be going down some massive path of cost of time and money, or even just putting off, you know, you're just putting off that you aren't doing something else because you're doing busy work in some big project. I'm just advising don't even get into really big projects if you don't. Oh, and thanks for the comment on the hat, Verna. Yeah, you know what? It's not cold in my office tonight, but I've noticed my forehead is glaring a lot more as the years go by, so I thought I'd cover it over tonight. Let's see, and we have Irene from Vero Beach, Brisbane, Australia, Sue's in Texas, Christine, I'm not 100% sure, I can't remember where you are. Marion's in the UK. It's pretty cool, isn't it, when you can be sitting here. Deborah, I see in Fort Lauderdale. Isn't it cool to be doing this kind of thing and having people all around the world? And I'm going to have to watch it. I see it's all women here. My wife's going to wonder what I'm doing on Wednesday nights and that. But anyway, look at it. It's about 10 to 9. Let me talk about our business for those of you that have come in here. Now, the names I've seen here, I realize are all generally in our business, but a lot of people may see this over the week coming forward. So I'm going to shut off my screen sharing. and come back to camera and just give a little summary. And I got to get there. There we go. Back to camera. Let me talk a little bit about our business. First of all, for those of you that are invited here that may not even know what the business is we're doing. First of all, again, I mentioned my name, Patrick Batty. You may have been brought here to our website today through a link that I sent out to you or a link that somebody else sent out to you. You're going to see one button down below that says Get Started with the iPass System. Well, basically, let me take about 5 minutes here, and I'll tell you a little bit about what the iPass system is and why you may want to get started. First of all, I see Sue, I know Marion, and myself. We're all professional certified coaches in the iPass system. So part of our job is to teach people and help people get in the right mindset and properly positioned to take advantage of the system and as they get into it. And we also, offer, questions, help with questions and answers. We've all been successful at it. We've all been doing it. And we are, basically paid to be coaches in this system. So what is the iPass system? Well, the iPass system really is an affiliate marketing program where you can join and you can get a trial for 7 days and get into the system, go through a bunch of training, a bunch of videos that will teach you how the system works. At the end of the trial, you can decide whether or not you want to stay in the system. Now, the benefit for being in the system is, first of all, one, there are live coaches like I mentioned, Marion, myself, and Sue. But number two, you're going to learn a lot of kind of internet marketing, network marketing principles really fast in a series of 5 or 6 videos. And you will decide whether or not you want to actually be in the business. If you want to be in the business, then you will continue with your subscription to the system, which is an automatic thing after 7 days. So what the system does is it pays you commission if you promote the business. So you will have an affiliate link that once you even set up your trial, you'll have a link that you can then promote. When somebody joins as a trial member, they pay $7, I believe it is, to get a trial. You get 50% commission on that. Now, I know $3 isn't a lot of money, or $3.50, but it's a trial. Those people may stay or they may not stay. The regular membership on a monthly basis is $47, and you'll get 50% commission from the people that join the system through your link. Okay, now that's monthly. So for every person that joins, you're going to get about $24 or so commission for as long as they stay in the system. So that starts to add up. And then there are other products and other things that we connect to where you can really earn a lot more money. Okay, so that's iPass in a nutshell. Now, we're not asking you to make a big decision on iPass tonight, but we are suggesting you would get a trial. Okay, the trial button is down below. You can set that up in about 2 minutes and you will have a trial account. When you have a trial account, you're automatically going to be enabled to watch all of the videos and the training in there. And you'll even you'll receive an email from one of the coaches that will offer to do a coaching call with you as well. So that's kind of what we do, and we really enjoy helping people out. So we encourage you. Now, if you received an email from me, you'll have a link from me. If you received an email from anybody else, the way we've set up our website here is that button down below will be encoded to that person. So whoever sent you the access to the website is the person you'd be joining through. So it's really nice. They get paid commission by bringing people here. And you'll be able to do the same thing. You'll be able to bring people to this website and set up your link in a way that it will, the Boomer High link, it will take the appropriate ID and put it in through the iPass system. So that's how it works. That's what the system does. We love it. I think it makes internet marketing and network marketing much, much easier than what I've done before. And I've been relatively successful before, but I would say that this is making it just a lot easier. And what myself, Sue, Marion are seeing as coaches is there's a lot of people doing extremely well with this, and also a lot of people that are making money online that have never made a dime before despite a lot of effort. So we we really believe in the system. We really like it. You can tell we're committed to it because we are actually working for the system as coaches. Okay, I mean we're contractors, but we work as coaches, and so that's how committed we are. This is not just a fly-by-night thing. This isn't magic or some schemy thing. This is a real business that is delivering real business for people that are real serious. It doesn't have to be a lot of work. It doesn't have to be a lot of work to do it, and you don't have to become a coach and do what we're doing. Heaven forbid. But we are bringing on new coaches as we go and as they've become successful and things like that. But the main thing is we want to teach you how to make an income with this. So in order to do that, we can only do so much on a Hangout like this, and I hope you've got some value from the Hangout tonight. But the other thing you can do is simply go into the system, click the button in the link below, and that'll take you right in the system, and you're going to see friends of ours and other people, first of all, tell you a little bit more about it. And then once you're in the system, you're going to get a whole series of training videos, even for just the $7. You're going to get some heavy, really good quality, sincere, honest, high value training that honestly, it's training that I hadn't even seen in my first year or two in internet marketing. And you're going to get it for $7 as part of your trial. So that's it. I hope that you understand that. We'd love you to join us. It's so cool. The system just works, and we want it to work for you as well. So with that, this is Patrick Batty. I'm going to end our Hangout now. I just want to see if there are any last minute questions though. Just have a scan over here 1 second. Yes, Michelin. Yes, yes. There's various levels in the iPass system, and I said it pays 50% commission. That's if you're a trial member, or what we call a basic member when you continue. And then if you go up to what we call a black membership level, it actually pays 70% commission. That's exactly right. And yeah. Yeah, exactly, Christina. I'm not trying to get into everything because the videos, the iPass video will show people, that in a lot more detail, right? So I don't want to get into too much complication here. But yeah, good, nice to hear the comments about iPass, and yeah, glad to, and I know a bunch of you are having a lot of success as well. So that's really, really cool to see. I mean, there's a lot of business out there for people. All you have to do is get started. And, with the right coaching, with the right mentoring, with the right system in place, the opportunity is really unlimited. It really is. And it's so fun. I mean, I think iPass, I'd like to keep things relatively simple, even the way I explained this whole thing tonight. I think iPass keeps it really simple too. And I think people that go into the trial will understand fully what I mean by that. So good. I'm glad to hear about your comments, guys. Thank you so much. So we're going to end it, and I am absolutely dead on time this evening. You'd think I knew what I was doing, wouldn't you? Well, some days you fake it. I'm happy. I got through a keynote presentation. Presentation with Keynote. I only used Keynote today for the very first time, and again, this is the first Hangout I've done from my Mac. And I'm getting over the culture shock of a change from being on Windows for, goodness, probably since Windows came out, which is probably about 30 years ago now. I think I was on Windows 2 when it started, and that was around 1985. And as of yesterday or the day before yesterday, I switched to a Mac. So I seem to be able to do it, but I've got things to learn. But look, guys, I'm going to end it here. I want to thank you all for joining. It makes it so much more fun when I see live people here. We get a lot of people through the week watching the replays, literally hundreds and hundreds. But it's so cool to have people with us when we're doing it live, because we get some more interaction and things like that. I want to also suggest you feel free to promote this. And if you have, if you're already in iPass, all you do when you want to promote it for the weekly event is just add your user ID after the name. So it's boomerhigh.com/ followed by question mark, ID equals, and whatever your iPass username is. That way people get to watch the webinar, and if they join iPass through the button down below, they're going to be on your team, not my team, your team. So this is a totally free, open resource for the world to use to promote iPass, and you're welcome to do it. Okay, so I want to thank you all. God bless. Have a wonderful week, and we'll be back again next week with another Boomer High. Stay safe, make some progress, try that Pomodoro method, and I'd love to hear back in the comments fields over the next couple days. If you do it tomorrow, leave a comment on here on if it worked for you and if you got a lot of things done. Okay, I highly recommend it. It's really worthwhile. And we'll see you all again next week. Have a wonderful week, everybody. Thanks for tuning in tonight. Bye-bye.